Imagine stepping into a strange machine that bends time. In the blink of an eye, you find yourself in 14th century Europe. Around you are stone streets, tall castles in the distance, and a crowd buzzing with life. But what immediately catches your senses is the smell drifting through the air, something fried, sweet, and rustic. You walk closer and discover a small stall at the edge of a market. People are lining up for what looks surprisingly familiar: apple fritters. Tiny tart apples are dipped in batter and fried until golden. Outside they are crispy, inside they burst with tangy sweetness. The cook proudly tells you they're fried in reused pig fat, primitive perhaps, but delicious. It's almost like an early donut, centuries before Krispy Kreme or Dunkin' ever existed. Further down, you notice another treat: cheese curds, fresh pieces of curdled milk lightly salted tossed in hot oil. Villagers are eating them like popcorn, laughing and sharing handfuls with each other. Not everyone can afford something rich or cheesy though. A group of farmers are eating turnip pies, a humble pastry filled with mashed root vegetables. To modern taste buds it might sound plain, even odd, but in a world where winter meant scarcity, turnip pies were survival disguised as comfort food. Then your eyes wander to a wealthier crowd. Merchants and nobles are nibbling on honey cakes and sweet rolls sprinkled with sugar. Sugar in this era is an exotic import from distant lands. If you had sugar on your table, it wasn't just dessert, it was a statement, a signal to the world that you were wealthy, powerful, connected. You realize something profound. These medieval snacks weren't just about flavor. They were symbols of resilience, identity, and status. From fried apples to honeyed bread, food reflected both hardship and luxury, survival and indulgence. Hourglass, but just as you take one last bite of a sticky honey cake, the time machine hums again. This time, you open your eyes in a place even more mysterious: the ancient world of dreams. Here, in the temples of Mesopotamia, Egypt, and Greece, people believe that dreams are not private illusions of the mind, they are messages from the gods. Priests and scribes collect huge manuals filled with dream omens. If you dream of water, it may signal renewal or death. If you dream of flying, it may mean victory in battle. A snake in your dream, a divine warning of betrayal. Some people even practice dream incubation, sleeping in sacred temples, hoping to receive visions that would guide their health, their decisions, even the fate of nations. Kings and rulers relied on dream interpreters before going to war or declaring laws. To dream was not random, it was politics, religion, prophecy. Imagine lying in one of those temples, the smell of incense thick in the air, waiting for a god to whisper a vision into your sleep. Your dream could change your destiny, or the destiny of an empire. The time machine shudders again. Light bends, sound collapses, and suddenly, you are no longer in a temple. You are standing in the wide-open wilderness of America, the year 1860. The air is dry, filled with the scent of dust and sagebrush. In the distance, the Rocky Mountains cut across the sky. You hear hooves pounding against the earth, fast, relentless. A rider approaches, young, wiry, no older than 18, leaning low against his horse. A leather satchel is strapped to the saddle. His face is tense, his eyes sharp. He doesn't stop, he only shouts as he passes a small wooden station. Mail for the West. This is the Pony Express, one of the most daring and dangerous communication networks ever built. Sunrise the vision. In 1860, America was divided, east and west separated by vast wilderness, mountains, and deserts. Messages could take weeks, sometimes months, to travel from Missouri to California. 3 businessmen had an idea. Stations every 10 to 15 miles. Riders who never stopped except to change horses. Mail delivered from coast to coast in just 10 days. It was an insane plan, dangerous, costly, and uncertain, but it worked. Horse the riders. The time machine lets you follow one of them. His name is lost to history, but his profile is legendary. He is lightweight, barely 120 pounds, and fearless. They only hired boys like him, small enough not to tire the horse, brave enough to face storms, bandits, or worse. You ride alongside him now, wind whipping against your face. He pushes his horse hard, through rivers, across endless plains. At each station he leaps from the saddle, grabs a fresh horse, and takes off again. No food, no sleep, only speed. The rules of the Pony Express were brutal. No wasted time. No unnecessary wait. The mail must go through, no matter the cost. Some riders carried Bibles, some carried pistols, but all carried courage. They signed contracts knowing they might never return. Cross swords the dangers. As you travel, the land itself rises up against you. Blizzards in the Sierra Nevada bury the trails in snow. Desert heat scorches skin and dries throats. Rivers swell, forcing horses to swim against deadly currents. And then there are human threats, bandits hungry for gold or armed groups who see riders as intruders. Many stations were attacked, many riders killed, yet still the mail went forward. Imagine being that boy on horseback, riding through the night. The moon is your only lantern, coyotes howl in the distance, every shadow might hide an ambush, your heart races with every mile. But you keep going, because you are not just carrying letters, you are carrying hope, news, connection, linking a nation across thousands of miles. Hourglass, the symbol. For just 18 months the Pony Express ran, April 1860 to October 1861, and then suddenly it was gone. The telegraph had arrived, carrying messages faster than any horse could gallop. But those 18 months became legend. The riders became symbols of bravery, endurance, and the wild frontier spirit. They embodied the idea that humans will go to extraordinary lengths to stay connected. You close your eyes as the rider disappears into the horizon, dust rising behind him. The air is silent again. The time machine hums, ready to pull you further back into an even older world. Next stop, ancient Mesopotamia and Egypt, the land where beer was born. The time machine shakes once more. The endless plains of America fade, the sound of hooves vanishes, and suddenly you are standing on the banks of a wide brown river. The air is hot, buzzing with flies, and the smell of wet barley fills your nose. This is Mesopotamia, nearly 5,000 years ago, the cradle of civilization. Villagers are gathering bundles of grain, their hands rough, their feet caked in mud, and among them you notice something unusual. Baskets of bread not baked for eating, but crumbled into jars of water. Days later, the mixture ferments into a thick, bubbling liquid. You take a sip. It's sour, heavy, earthy, strange to modern taste, but to the Sumerians this is not strange at all. This is beer, the drink that fuels their labor, their rituals, their daily lives. Beer as food and currency. In Mesopotamia, beer is more than just a drink. It is a staple of survival. Farmers are often paid in beer, workers drink it instead of unsafe river water, and priests pour it out as offerings to the gods. A hymn written to the goddess Nunkasi, patron of brewing, sings both praise and instruction. How to bake the bread, soak it, ferment it, and turn it into the sacred drink. To brew beer here is to touch the divine. Every sip connects people not just to each other, but to the gods. Beer becomes currency, nourishment, and prayer, all in one vessel. Woman farmer, the women brewers. As you look closer, you notice who is making the beer. It is not the men working in the fields, it is the women. In homes, in temples, across villages, women are the guardians of brewing. They are skilled, respected, sometimes even holding official titles as brewmistresses. In Egypt, priestesses of Hathor brewed beer for rituals and festivals. In Sumer, widows and tavern keepers controlled breweries, earning wealth and influence. In a world where so much power was claimed by men, brewing remained a female craft. A blend of science, intuition, and spirituality passed down through generations of women. Imagine the scene, a Sumerian woman stirring a clay jar, chanting softly as the grains bubble and release their magic. She is not just making a drink, she is preserving life, community, and faith. Funeral urn beer in ritual and daily life. You wander into an Egyptian temple courtyard during a festival. Musicians play harps, dancers twirl, and priests pour foaming beer onto the ground as an offering. Jars are passed through the crowd, laughter rising as the drink loosens tongues. Beer is sacred, but it is also social. It brings people together, farmers after a long day, soldiers before battle, families during harvest. To drink is to bond, to celebrate, to honor the gods. It is astonishing to realize that thousands of years ago, beer shaped economies, religions, and relationships. It was never just alcohol. It was civilization in liquid form. Beer mugs, the legacy. The time machine hums for the last time, but before it pulls you away, you reflect. Medieval fritters and honey cakes showed how food reflects status and resilience. Ancient dreams revealed how visions guide faith and politics. The Pony Express embodied courage and connection. And now, beer reminds you that even the simplest drink can carry the weight of culture, economy, and spirit. As modern brewers experiment with ancient recipes, as archaeologists unearth old jars still smelling faintly of barley, the story continues. From Sumer to your glass today, beer has never left us. It is a living thread, linking us to the first cities, the first rituals, the first communities. You step back into the time machine one last time. The ancient river fades, the hum quiets. You are home again, yet carrying the taste of barley, the echo of hoofbeats, the smell of fritters, and the whisper of dreams. The diary closes, but history, as always, waits to be reopened.